I'm in the middle of the forest, the west coast of Canada. It's a dense forest, and I'm with my friend Jason. And in the middle of the forest, we find this clearing. In the middle of the clearing, there's this hole. This hole is massive, massive, so big, like machine-made or caused by a meteorite. No in between. So we're exploring this hole. And then this guy shows up from the middle of the forest. And then this other guy shows up. And then 2 other guys show up. And these guys seem to know each other, but they can't tell us anything about this hole. And these guys sort of have that air of authority to them. And they look at us and they say, "You need to come with us." They say, "You're lost." But we're not lost. We felt like we had no choice though, so we followed them through the forest, back to the prison where we lived. These guys, they were off-duty guards, called out to find us, and we were in big trouble. But we weren't in trouble for the reason you're probably thinking right now. We were 5 years old when this happened. Jason and I lived there because our dads worked there. This was a minimum security prison, clearly, where they believed that youth offenders deserved access to children and community as a part of their social rehabilitation while they were locked up. We were in big trouble because we'd broken the rule about not going into the forest without an adult. Finding 2 children lost in the middle of the forest from the prison grounds, that is a moment of impact. And today I'm here to talk to you about these moments of impact. These moments are the turning points of our lives. They're the ones we look back on and remember. And yet, for some reason, when we go about thinking about the mark that we're making in the world, we tend to diminish the value of those moments. I get to work with a lot of organizations to help them think about how they want to show up in their moments so that they can achieve the impacts they want to achieve. Most people I work with are highly purpose-driven. That same moment of impact, that had different meaning for different people. Purpose-driven people think about the others they're trying to impact. A lot of the time when I say purpose, people don't know what I'm talking about. It can mean a lot of different things. It can mean one thing to one person, another thing to another person. So I felt like it was important that we come up with a term, a way to define it that we could all understand what we're talking about. Purpose is tied to something bigger than yourself. It comes from a good place. And I like to think of it like this. It's the difference you want to make in the world. It's tied to your sense of meaning, and it's important to you. People tend to think that your purpose makes a huge difference in the world. It makes a difference to you, but it doesn't make a difference to the world. What makes a difference is your impact. The difference you want to make is your purpose. The difference you actually make is your impact. You see, there's this lock and key relationship between purpose and impact. When you have a purpose and you're having an impact, you have access to that meaning or sense of good doing that you seek in your life. If you have a purpose and you don't have an impact, or you're not having the impact that you want to have, it's like you don't have the key to the purpose door. It's like you can't unlock it and access the meaning that you want in your life. But here's the thing. I talk to these organizations all the time, and they feel a lack of purpose. Having a purpose is not enough. You need to have an impact. But this is the good news. You don't need a purpose to have an impact. You can have an impact anytime you want. You can make a difference in any moment you want. I'd like to introduce you to Addison. Addison is a little girl who is very dear to my heart, my husband and me. She's the daughter of our friends, Dan and Kristen. And Addie was in preschool, and they're doing that exercise. You know, the one they do where they ask the little girl or little boy or little they what are the big questions in life, that how would they answer, and they answer, and some are silly questions. The adult writes it down, and then they send it home, and everybody has a good laugh, right? Addison got asked this question that kind of piqued my interest. The question was, how do we heal the planet? Now, who can agree? The planet could use some healing right now, huh? I felt that too. This happened for me in a moment where I was starting to question my faith in humanity. I was scared for the planet. So I wanted to listen to what Addison had to say. And Addison said, to save the planet, I would drop a baby in their hands. And my heart just sort of busted wide open. She also went on to say that she hoped if she had a superpower, it would be able to fly through the air with little babies. And I'm really hoping one day Addison does learn about physics. But in that moment, Addison had a profound impact on me. She reminded me of our humanity. It's our humanity that needs to shine. It's our humanity these times call for. And Addison, she didn't have a purpose, but she sure made an impact. So I want to help you, if you care about making an impact in this world at any moment in time. I want to take the moments that matter with the impact you might want to make and help you understand what happens in a special kind of moment. I want to talk to you about humans in moments of impact. With human impact, I'm talking about when we're connected, like in person, one-to-one. There's other types of impact that are outside of this, long-term, intended, unintended, all that stuff. But in these points in time when we're connected, some interesting things are going on. And those kind of impacts are quite immediate. They're like making people feel seen, or making them feel heard, or making them feel trusted. Those types of impacts, you should never underestimate the power of those types of impacts. Literally thousands of people I've talked to about their purpose. And I asked them, how did today come to be? Tell me about your life. They recall these moments. Somebody said something to me that opened my eyes. I was trusted with something. And I took that responsibility and realized I was actually good at it. Or I wanted something, I got clarity. These moments matter. And you never know which ones are going to matter. But they matter. So I want to unpack what's kind of going on between humans in that moment. This is maybe how we might draw it. There's some sort of feedback going on. I'm impacting you and you're impacting me, like right now. I think what this implies, though, in moments of human connection, impact is flowing both ways, right? Like something's happening there. And I think what we think is that, well, not we think, what I think is that it involves the exchange of value and energy. Value is what? It means something to the other person. You're trying to deliver something that is of value to them. Energy, that's like your vibe or your emotions or your mood. And you always, in a moment of impact, are looking to make sure there's a good fit between your value and your energy you're trying to deliver it with. When we have an intention for an impact, however, what we want becomes subordinate to what the other person needs, right? We try to put them in front of us. And yet we can't know the context. We can't know what's happened for them, what's about to happen for them, what the stakes of this moment are. We can kind of know it for ourselves. But we need to focus in on this exchange of value and energy because it isn't an equal exchange of value and energy. Usually what happens is the value and energy you get when you show up from a moment of impact is you find the key for the door. You can unlock that sense of purpose or meaning or fulfillment or joy or rejuvenation that you seek in your life. So that's kind of what is really happening, which really makes me wonder why. When we go out into the world and we talk about impact reports and look at impacts over time, this is a story we tell. And don't get me wrong, this is a good story. I love this story. I mean, I'm pretty convinced this is basically the Hallmark Channel, right? If this was the story of the guards, it's this. The guards assembled a team to search the woods, to find the children, and return them to safety and security. And the family went on to live happily ever after. Impact reports do a great job of telling this story. Most do. And then they'll interview the family and they'll talk about what that meant to them and all that stuff. It's a great story. We have to keep telling it. We need more of that story. But did anybody stop to wonder what was going on for the guards in that moment? Were they feeling heroic? Were they a little stressed or even traumatized? Were they angry? Because if they were angry and they're hearing this, I'd like them to know that was Jason's idea to go into the forest that day. These stories matter not only because it's our humanity, and these people are humans too, the ones generating the impact, going out there and doing that work. It matters because their stories reveal important clues about what we need to do to fix the mess we're in. Right now in the workforce, in the workplace, we're seeing record high levels of mental health concerns, stress, and burnout. People who thought it was their calling to go into the healing profession or teaching profession are leaving because they can't take it anymore. And it's not just them, it's all of us. We're all feeling it right now. And we need to come back together. We need to find our shared humanity. And it can start in any moment. Every moment has the potential to make a difference in someone's life, to become a turning point. And maybe that's important to you and your purpose. So I want to leave you with some hope here. These stories and the people behind them, they are being told, and we are learning some things. I do not want to imply that this is not happening out there. It is. It's just, I think we have a mindset about impact that gives rise to a story. And that story that we tell is incomplete. And we need all the stories so that we can figure this out together. I want to introduce you to Yvon Chouinard. He was the former owner of Patagonia. Some of you may know his story, but he was one of the men, one of the people, leaders of America behind impact. His company was dual purpose and profit, and they always ran it very ethically. But it came time that he was ready to retire, and he'd made a lot of money. This company was estimated to be worth $3 billion, billion. And when he looked at the options before him, he didn't like what he saw. He saw a future, or he could conceive of a future where the company and the values that it was trying to preserve, this is an outdoor apparel company in case you don't know, I think probably everybody does, but that could be diminished in the wrong hands. Even with good intentions, there's too much pressure to make money. This is a guy who loved the outdoors, who wanted to preserve the natural spaces we get to work and play in. And he thought there must be a better way. So he did something very innovative. He made a trust, and then he struck a collective called the Holdfast Collective. It's comprised of the trust plus a bunch of not-for-profit organizations that have a good track record of fighting global climate change and doing other things that support that good environmental crisis response. And then he did something unexpected, and he gave his $3 billion company to that collective. Now forever, that company Patagonia, will have its values and its purpose preserved because it will be overseen by this collective. And after this collective ensures that that company is taken care of and its longevity is ensured, it will then take the profits and it will distribute it through these not-for-profit organizations to directly fighting global climate change, ensuring resilient communities and life on the planet. That's impact on steroids. Now, Yvon and his family can say that Earth is now our only shareholder. Now, we can't always conceive even of being an Yvon, but you can be an Addison. You can be an Addison every day. I have 3 pieces of advice for you. And it might be worth considering this if you're thinking about trying to step into these moments and seize moments of impact. Because even though you don't need a purpose to have an impact, you might find your purpose in the impact you make. First of all, it's clear mind. Clear mind means to be focused on, of course, what impact you want to make in that moment, but also know what you can control and what you can't control. And let go of the rest. Clear mind, brave heart. You're gonna need to get vulnerable to do this work. Stepping into a moment sometimes feels really natural. You know what to do. Other times, this whole business about subordinating your needs to the needs of the other and then meeting them where they're at and delivering impact the way they want, that's a little uncomfortable sometimes. And it feels like if you're right-handed, like you're writing with your left hand for the first couple times. You need to be brave. You're gonna get vulnerable. And sometimes you won't succeed. This is your heart. This matters to you. Take care of yourself, of course. And loose hands. Loose hands means, well, in Canada we have our national sport is hockey. And in hockey, they talk about stick handling the puck. And you can't stick handle the puck if you hold the stick too tight. You gotta have a loose grip. And it's the same thing with your intentions. You need to hold your intentions loosely. You need to hold them loosely because you're not always going to be able to have the impact you want to have. Sometimes you're going to want to have an impact and the person on the other end says, yeah, no thanks, hard, no, I'm good. I don't like that sweater. This is worthy work. It's good work. Your impact affects not only other people's lives, it impacts how you feel about yourself. It impacts your future. Futures are forged in these moments. You need to focus on you and what you need to feel good about yourself at the end of that moment. So I'm wondering, is there an impact you want to make? Can you see yourself seeing a moment and wanting to seize a moment? Has any of this inspired you? If you're going to go out there and make an impact, I just have one request. Please, let your story be told. Thank you.